AFTERBUZZ TV Bar Rescue fans, listen, y'all, it's Sabatoge.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
If you get in trouble. Welcome, AFTERBUZZ TV Bar Rescue fans. Keven Undergaro here, back with a full table. Gabrielle and Dorinda. Hello, ladies.
Hi, guys.
Fresh off one of the most historic debates. I don't know if it's historic, but at least the most epic debates ever. Yeah. And I was texting with John Taffer during it.
Well, I can imagine. What was your favorite person, Ron Bone?
You know what? I didn't go that deep.
Yeah,
I love people who did that. People that got into Ron Bone and they got into the one black guy that was allowed to ask, that was even there and allowed to ask a question.
I actually saw that part.
But no, Trump had me. He had me so entertained from his pre-show, which was getting all those women together that were involved with, had in the Clintons years ago. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And the table of them.
I think this is all ridiculous, to be honest.
But it was
knew this
so
was going
entertaining,
to
and it was the only thing that could get me away from watching Bar Rescue live.
Yeah, that is true.
Thank God for DVRs. That's all I have to say. So just, it
is an entertaining world we're living in right now.
Yeah, it's all entertainment. No politics.
Listen, we had our own Trump Billy Bush moment before the mics went on because we started discussing whether Gabby would. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dorinda. Whether Gabby would be a good coke whore or a bad coke whore.
No, we said she'd be a great coke whore.
She'd be a great coke whore.
But let me put a disclaimer out there. Never done coke in my life. Only alcohol.
Okay, right, but
views expressed herein are those of the host.
Thank you. Love you, Marissa.
Yes,
thank you for that.
But the question is, would you be,
Yeah.
And, okay, so what's a politically correct term?
Actually, I'll be honest here.
Coke person?
No, it's a cokehead.
Yeah,
cokehead.
Yeah, cokehead.
Okay.
But I guess you can call someone a coke whore too. It works.
Okay, right, but we don't want to be derogatory.
No, it is derogatory, Kevin. But I think that for you means I'm fun, right?
Yeah, it's just true.
We know it was the question was brought to the table. Would you be? Because you could say no. I'm not. I would be a terrible coke head.
Well, the truth is when you're under the influence of either drugs or alcohol, usually your true persona comes out, right?
Okay.
So I'm a pretty happy, positive person, so I think I would just be a blast in an even bigger glass.
Okay, so
even though I don't do drugs, I'm not putting it out there. I'm just saying.
Dorinda, is she answering the question? She'd be an amazing coke whore.
Yes.
I guess so.
All right, well at least that got settled.
Minus the whore part, but
No, okay, yeah. Okay, here's the thing with Bar Rescue, guys. So every episode, I don't know why, I feel like it's, remember the movie 50 First Dates?
Yes.
I feel like for me, it's 50 First Bar Rescues because it's always the dirtiest kitchen, the most asshole owner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It may be because we've seen so many, or I was so pissed. I don't remember being as pissed off over an episode as I was by the end of this one. And then I went and did research at Bar Rescue Updates, and it made me feel I was just so upset.
I was more upset towards the end when we see the updates as well. I didn't research because I wanted to wait for the live show as to what's going on in the present moment, but the 6 weeks after update, that got me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Especially with the reveal, too.
Yeah, and once again, whether or not we go into the show being, he wants to take his bar back. Jeff, the original owner, but he was working as a manager. He wants to take the bar back, all this stuff. And then when you see at the end, I'm like, I would have been Jeff too. I was so angry at this moment.
We'll take it from the beginning.
Yeah,
but,
there's a lot going on.
I just know, as I said, watching it, I just was like...
every person pissed you off.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah, and John has a thick skin. If he's got, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he puts up with them. I don't know how he travels. I don't know how he does any of it. But it's just, when you're so passionate and you want to do a good job, and then this is what you get. It's just like, I don't know. Why would I I wouldn't want to get back in that game, in that ring. I don't know, people, man.
No, dysfunctional.
And, you know,
Yes.
John does a really good job of, you know, maintaining the bar, getting it back on its feet, and really getting in there down to the nitty gritty and controlling the situation. But I have to say, I haven't seen all Bar Rescue episodes in the history of Bar Rescue. In this one, the chef that they brought in actually got to a John Taffer level when he was
I love Chef Aaron.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He
this
is
group.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I love that because I'm like, whoa, someone who's really getting down to business other than John.
I love Chef Aaron in this. I think he was a great addition. And so, you know, we started at the top, and we're doing recon, and we learned that this place made 1.2 to 1.8 million annually. Crazy numbers.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's amazing.
And Jeff, it's called Schaefer's Bar and Grill, and Jeff Schaefer, I'm assuming his last name is Schaefer. I know there's a famous Jeff Schaefer who's a amazing and talented comedy writer. That's a friend of mine that writes for Seinfeld, Larry David. Just a little shout out, and Ali G and Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah. Anyway, but it's not that Jeff Schaefer. So this Jeff Schaefer sells after 5 years.
Surprise.
And Ryan and Nina buy the bar, and now Nina had 15 years in corporate restaurant, and Ryan is not involved in the restaurant business, but he seems like a worker in general. And they leave Jeff on as manager because Jeff around town is Mr. Popularity. You know, basically, he's probably one of those guys just loved and beloved, and
Well, not only
you know,
that, but
and that's what keeps the regulars coming in.
it is common also to have, even with just ownership of anything, to have the previous owner come in and do consulting for the following year, 2 or 3.
That's right. For the
in a
first year
business.
to make the transition, you generally ask, you know, that there's a tenure where you stay on and you transition out. But I don't think this was set up that way. You know, it wasn't set up that way.
No, not at all. And I was wondering why they would keep him on and still pay him if they paid him out, or was this his way of getting paid? I wasn't sure. I was confused about that. That's the way I was wondering
That's
about that.
interesting.
Well, I think he sounded like he was making something like $7-something a week.
Yeah, it was $1,700 every 2 weeks,
right,
so that's
so
like $850 a week.
$850 a week, I think he's
Yeah.
making, and I think he sold the place.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm guessing it's like he made the sale, and now he's, you know, making his weekly salary, and they're definitely at odds. And she's allegedly in $500,000 in debt. And as we said, Chef Aaron and David Vaughn are in the car, and John sends them in to do recon, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And we see for $6.99, we see a giant steak, and it was kind of interesting. You learning food costs; they're way over there, right? But as we get into the drinks, we see this bartender, Lindsay, right?
Right.
Lindsay.
And she doesn't know how to make this, she doesn't know how to make that. Then I know there's no sweet vermouth to make a drink or whatever, and she just seems like she just goes in the bathroom and just snaps. I know. So Dorinda, you as a bartender.
In my notes.
All right, go ahead. Let's go.
In my
I already
notes.
see what that
Let's
is.
go.
Do your job.
Well, this was my first. Yeah, this was the first first strike for the show was her. It seemed to me. Well, they were building up the whole Jeff was trying to undermine the business. I love the premise of that.
Yeah.
And I do actually believe it's true, but then there's a lot of other stuff that goes along with it.
They were doing a good job of doing it to themselves. Even with whatever Jeff was doing, they were doing a good job of being inconsistent and awful.
Not someone that should be in management or owning a bar. And I know there's people at home who have managers and owners like that, and it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
A wishy-washy, freaking passive-aggressive nightmare. But let's start with Lindsay the bartender.
Okay, so Lindsay the bartender, they go in, they ask how she doesn't know how to make a Rob Roy, doesn't know what dishes they have, because they go and they order food too. They're ordering food from her. Oh, we don't have pork. I don't know if we have the pork chops. I don't know if we have this. Oh, we're out of the steak. Whatever. There was a lot of things they were out of. And that's one of the things she didn't know how. There was so many things she didn't know how to make. A gimlet, she gives them a gimlet, and basically it's Rose's lime with a splash of vodka. everything that she did, and
A
she's
splash of vodka?
like, I'm being facetious here,
No,
but
she
it
had,
was
she had, she had PGS, pretty girl syndrome.
yeah, and she's like, I'm the best thing here. How are you the best thing here if you don't know how to do your job? Your job is to make drinks. That's what your job is. And if you cannot do that, you are not doing your job. And so all of this happens. She flips out. She goes.
The reaction is insane.
Yes, and she walks out. She's like, "I'm done with this."
By the way, we've seen far greater. Like this wasn't even stress test,
No.
you guys. This is recon. We've seen zillions times worse in recon, and the fact that at this moment I'm insulted, I'm walking out. And let's just talk about the goofball Nina, who runs out of dramatically jumps out of the SUV with John, right? To go and say, and I'm like, no.
I have to
why are you
save this-
chasing after this person?
She wasn't even mediocre at best. Was not even mediocre.
Right. And so when you learn strength in leadership and then also a system, I'm like, no, this place is doomed to fail. That's who you're chasing after. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're chasing after that person. You're supposed to say go.
Yeah.
Okay, I find if someone's been there a long time and there's a history and then maybe she reacted and got embarrassed, you pull them aside and say, listen, do you want to be here or not? We're here to make this bar to be better, blah, blah, blah. They are calling you out on things you're not able to do. Don't take it personally, but do you want to be here or not? If you don't want to be here, right, because we are going to change, we are going to make this place better, then you know what? Get out. And the fact that she chases, just begging her, I'm like, oh my God, you are the worst leader.
I've never seen that, by the way, on a bar rescue where someone chases someone when they obviously see that the bartender or whoever it is doesn't know what they're doing. And this woman's like, I can't live without her if I don't have her, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how can you can really live without this woman.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay.
Oh my God.
I feel like there's things we're also not seeing. Maybe, in a lot of bars, you also are expected to bring people in certain nights. So maybe this girl has a lot of friends she brings
pretty
to the bar.
And all that stuff. I get that, but
she could have clientele that comes back.
But the thing is, we're hearing is that, and this is what people never understand, is if you're on this trajectory to close,
yes,
then what's the difference? You have to change things up. So so she'll keep you in business that 2 or 3 more months, but you're closing.
But the funny thing to me is you get rid of Lindsay, or you're okay with it, after this point, but you want to bring Jeff back in later.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, and not to jump, but
we'll
let's
there. I mean,
kind of like
I am
this, right?
so disgusted that I literally don't even want to do this after show.
I can tell it's stressing you out.
Can we go back and talk about what we were talking about before?
What's that? Whether Gary's a good Coke person or not? Or potentially.
It's just it was annoying.
I don't know why. Maybe I took this one really hard, guys. I was really freaking pissed, and I went and I read all the comments, and I know I just know because I like to help people's careers in Hollywood, and I have so much passion for what I do. And I don't make any money off it, and John's not making any money off of these people in their bars. And then just to be treated this way, it's just like, ugh, go away, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to. Yeah. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be part of this.
Bar Rescue is kind of like handing you success.
Yes.
Yes.
They're giving you that extra push to be able to be successful. And when people just throw it back in your face, it's like unappreciative and ungrateful. Like, I wish someone handed me the things in my life that I would like, but it doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
And for the people that get that, they don't even care.
Gabby, if we get you to be a Coke person, then maybe you will get some nice things. I'm just saying. I've known some Coke people, Dorinda, that end up with purses.
Usually it winds up the opposite at the end of the day.
Well, at the end of it,
they have to sell all their nice purses
but we can
to afford that.
We pull you out before that.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get you out before.
It's like, in like the glory days. And then when it starts to go
before.
So John, it was good because he did say it to her. He said, you were chasing after a mediocre bartender, and I agree with you, Dorinda. She's not even mediocre. I think John was trying. I think John knew. You could see on his face when she ran out of the car. He was like, "Oh my God,
he was flabbergasted.
I'm fucked right now. Like, I don't know how the hell we're gonna do this." And this is going to be a long one. We learned that the food cost is $300,000 a year and making they're making $325,000. They're grossing $325,000 and they're paying $300,000 a year. So that's just completely abysmal, insane.
What about when the food came out? It's at 17 minutes they still didn't have food. At 35 minutes they finally get their food at 35 minutes, and it's still not cooked the way it's supposed to be cooked.
But again, Dorinda, we've seen this.
Yeah, that is
we've seen this. We've seen the dirty kitchen, and I'm going to give Jeff credit. He did clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I thought for a guy who had a big sign that said Schaefer's, I thought his ego would have ruled him. And I will give the guy credit that he took the beating from John and he cleaned the kitchen. And I thought that was kind of cool. I also thought Bronson was amazing.
Yeah,
he
was my favorite.
Yeah,
he was my favorite.
He was the only thing redeeming to me in this episode. Then we find out that they gave away $5,200 in booze. There's your precious Lindsay. Giving away, with that team, $5,200 in the weekend. That amounts to $250K annually.
I know, that's their house.
Yeah,
that's their house. And when I thought about that, that's $250,000 that just walked out your door.
Yep. And these are the people you're protecting.
Yeah, this is the girl you ran out.
Clown. And then she said something. I don't know if I can tell the staff off, or I don't know if I can. What? When she has them all on fake probation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like the fact that Chef Davidson came up with, and John came up with just simple Collins drinks, vodka, because this is all this crew could handle. I always like when they keep them simple.
Oh yeah.
Because I think a lot of these people, the bar rescues, they don't have it in them.
Can we talk about that tea drink?
Yeah, go ahead.
The
honey.
smoked tea drink.
Oh yeah.
Well, that came afterwards. That came with. I'm right now just at the
Was it?
this was before the stress test.
Yeah.
Okay. I still love it.
And Ryan, the fiance, God bless him, but he knew nothing. He was just the oaf that just kind of stood.
God bless him. Until his mask fell off too.
Yeah.
He's another one.
Yeah,
another sweetie pie.
Yeah, until he took his hat
people, it's never a coincidence. You get somebody, like, oh, that person's really nice. Why do they hang out with that jerk? Well, I ask you to look a little closer. That's why when I was friends with Gabby, a lot of people would say to me, Kevin, you're so nice. Why are you with Gabby? And then that was it. So that's why I just decided to stay with Dorinda.
Here we are today, and you're still friends with me. Don't even lie about that.
No, we are. Well, all of us. We still have to do our bar crawl. Now, you can't do bar crawl in the summer in LA. That's why winter's good.
Yeah.
I think, because it feels fall. But bar rescue crawl. So with the stress test, they also, what I thought was, again, I just love John and bar rescue, because we did stress/research. So do people want a steak or a steak sandwich? A cheap steak sandwich that's going to yield you the same amount of profit versus a steak that's more expensive and going to yield you the same amount of profit. So, and I thought that was really, it was a great way to do a stress test, and hands down, everyone loved the
steak. That steak sandwich looked amazing.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
That really did.
Chef Aaron, my man. And again, even the stress test, I thought Jeff handled that well too, because they were hammering him pretty hard. He
even said, I'm doing this because I don't want to see this bar fail. I think that was one of the things that he said. I really want to see this bar do well, because he still thought of it as his own. Even though he didn't even though he didn't have all the heart in it, he still thought of it as his own.
Right.
Which was good.
And he was never yelled at for not doing anything. He was always helping out. But during the stress test, he was delivering things to wrong tables, and there was a lack of communication completely within the bar.
For sure.
And the staff.
God, this is, and then we go into the more formal training and all that stuff. But I guess I just hate to cut right to it, but we reveal, and then it's going to be Arlise, named after the son. And
wait, right? Even before we do that, before we do all that, they have the talk.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm
Nita
sorry.
has the talk with John.
Shoot, that's a huge
Yeah,
miss. Thank you.
and they have the talk, and she's like, "I want him gone." And then Ryan comes in. She asks Ryan for his advice. He's like, "Well, I was with him all night, and he really wants to see this work. I think we should keep him
Till 8 a.m.
till 8 a.m.
Cleaning that kitchen.
Yeah, and she was like, no, we're going to get rid of him. So then she, tells him they're not going to have him as a manager. I thought that actually went down very well. I thought it was going to go a different direction.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. I think the longer you talk about this, the more I am a little bit team Jeff. I'm totally team Bronson, like overall.
Yeah.
But I think that, I think Jeff he might be okay, you guys. He may be okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's self-aware, too, because he even admitted to the camera, like, I understand why they're letting me go because X, Y, Z. And it wasn't like, I hate them, they should be doing this. He never seemed to be spiteful or that even what Nita had said originally, that he was trying to take over. I never saw that in him. I just saw that he wanted some involvement in something he used to be passionate about.
Right.
Yes. Very much so.
And maybe she was just,
I think she was trying to blame.
Let's do final thoughts when we get. I mean, let's get to the.
Okay, I'll say it after.
Okay, so you're right. So they have their moment, and as you said, like, it's okay. Looks like it's gonna go well, and then we do the reveal, and they like Arlie's, and when she gets inside, TV wise, I love this, even though it was pissed me off. I love that it went to the whispering. We have to change it back to a sports bar. She said right to Ryan.
But Ryan, she goes, Ryan, this is more your vision than it's mine. She did say that to the fiance.
Right.
Yeah, because I rewatched the last 5 minutes just recently again. And I was like, wow, you just are an ungrateful human being. Yeah,
well, narcissistic, but masking it with codependence, I mean, not to get too techie with you, and I'm not a psychologist, but I just think one of those ones who's acts like she's a victim and giving to everybody, but deep down it's probably all about her.
Oh yeah.
And and it's it was a nice renovation, and you couldn't almost even get into I couldn't even get into the renovation. I couldn't even get into it because the focus was all on her, and you notice there were different elements. There were all these like plastic cases behind one of the bar that were like little showpieces. Like all the details, John didn't even they didn't even describe them. Like all the couple of little things here and there, but they barely described because it was all about and so then we've decided we want Jeff back, and I will tell you what that's about, but I'm happy to hear what you guys have to say.
No, you and I probably agree. I want to hear what you have to say.
I'll say then first. I think that this whole time Nita was looking to blame somebody and not take accountability for what she did to this place as an owner. And so letting Jeff go was a part of the blaming process. And I think that maybe there's a close relationship there to him. Maybe she knew him before she sold him the bar, and so she wanted him back in because he was managing, and I think maybe he was doing as best of a job that he could or was willing to do with what he was given. I don't think there was a lot of motivation there in the first place. I don't think she was a good boss. So she ultimately led to the demise, but I think that she is, like you said, a codependent, and she needed him to even be where she was in the first place. But she also needs an ass kicking to be a successful owner of a bar.
Okay. So I agree with some of that. I don't disagree with any of it, actually. But I think, I will tell you what I think drove the call. It's, let me see, how do I make sense of this? Okay, so Dorinda's been hosting Bar Rescue with me forever.
Yeah.
And let's just say Dorinda gets kicked off this show. Okay, fine, Dorinda goes out the door. And I have you, and now we have Roxy or Ashley come in and start hosting. Now I have problems. Well, let's even get a new person. Like Marissa comes in, who's never done this before, and start hosting. Then all of a sudden, I get really uncomfortable, and I shut down. I just want to go. I want Dorinda back because I want to go home. Like I want. Okay, wait. I want the devil I know, rather than the devil I don't know. And you see this with a lot of people too. You see even dysfunctional families. Why? They're all fighting, they're killing each other, but when an outside force comes in, either to fix it or fight with them, they all cling to each other and kill the outside force. It's bananas. So now, once that place got changed the way it was, John was now the enemy. So it was like, oh no, no, Jeff will have my back. I know Jeff wants to call it Schaefer's, and that's what that was about. Let me call the devil I know, and let's get back and fuck this guy. And that's pretty much what you saw.
So you're saying it's because she's uncomfortable? Like, let's get to the core of it.
She did not like she's uncomfortable. She's a fucking brat. I'd say the C word if I really. No, she went in, she didn't like the renovation, and because she's a child, just the way she manages everything.
It was like a temper tantrum.
It was like, if I get Jeff back here, Jeff is Schaefer's. Jeff is not Arlee's. And now I get, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you know what, Ryan, you think this is okay? You know what? Screw this. I get Jeff back. Now it's me. Jeff will throw John Taffer out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Yeah. We'll go back to Schaefer's, and let's get the merry-go-round going again. And like I said, you see this in all the time.
Also, here's the thing: she blamed Jeff for so much. She blamed him. Now she has no one to blame.
And that's it too.
And it's on her. Yeah.
Yes.
It's all on her.
It's all on her. Now. But I do think it was she wanted the sports bar back too. But I think half of it was wanting the sports bar back, and you wanted Jeff to come back and throw Taffer out, and the other half is she knew she could. What my fiance said the same thing. She was watching. She can't do this alone. She knows it. She doesn't know. She knows it. She knows she's lame. And she knows, like, what did I get myself into? I don't want to do this work.
I did find it odd, the whole phone call with getting the sign back. I thought that was very weird. What did you guys think about that? Getting the Schaefer sign?
I didn't think it was weird because it came from him. Because it was his legacy, his bar.
But he's not the owner anymore.
I know, but...
Yeah, but that the sign is something different. It's tangible. To me, I felt he wants a sign to say, I did this.
Yes,
he has proof.
And remember, around a town like that, the reason it probably was because everyone loves Jeff. And that's why they were afraid to get rid of him, because no Jeff, no one's going to go to that bar. So for him, he doesn't mind being there as Schaefer's. It's like having your name in lights. But then to be there under Arlee's, it's like...
I don't know. I still find it very strange.
That is strange to you? I'm surprised.
It's very
a millennial
strange.
wouldn't understand ego.
No, I get why he wants it, but I'm saying why they let that happen is strange to me.
Wait.
Nita and Ryan.
Why did they let...
Why she was even on the phone asking John Taffer to get the sign back,
because
to me
I told
is crazy.
you, because she and what Dorinda said, she didn't want to do the work alone.
Right.
She also wanted the bar back to what it was.
But you originally said she was probably a narcissist. So a narcissist would rather have their name on there.
I said, but hidden, blanketed by codependence. It's very tricky.
Yeah.
So she goes into that codependent thing. But deep down, there's narcissism too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and it could also be too that, and I'm just going to throw this out there, he might not even know that they were on the phone, and he's like, where's the sign? I just want the sign back. Because he was like, I'm not coming back. Like, he was done.
Yeah, he said
I feel like he might have been, he could have been like a lot of those guys who own bars. They're very charismatic. They're like politicians. And he knew the cameras on, so he played a perfect game.
Yeah.
And the day after, now he's like, fuck you. Where he didn't have any cameras on him. Yeah. He's like, fuck off. I'm not going back to your bar. And I'm like, and I'm cringing at the black screen. I go, here comes the black screen. I just knew, I knew the need of the balls was coming.
Well, this is where it plays into what we just said. So then they changed the sign back to Schaefer's.
Wait, have not contacted, been in touch, refused to be in touch with Bar Rescue producers. And of course, changed it back to Schaefer's, and then I did the deep dive at Bar Rescue updates, and finally my fiance was like, okay, stop, I don't want to hear it. It's all the same thing. I just go to bed. But it was like her had like a long apology, and then she rewrote the script that Bar Rescue made her say they were in debt, made her say Rick was sabotaging the business. I apologize to Jeff and to Lindsay and this, and then Lindsay, they set her up to fail because there were no bottles there. Well, you still didn't know how to make the drinks. Like, it doesn't. Okay, so let's just say a producer took a bottle away. They still don't know how to make the drinks. And again, I've been on 4 Bar Rescue sets. Yeah. And I'm watching. I don't see the cooking much. I don't see them choreographing these things. So you think on those 4 shows, and they ask us back all the time. It would be very annoying to have to do a whole different show based on Maria Manunas and myself. You know what I mean? Like, if they're here, so guess what? Let's not manipulate the show. So I don't see it happening when I'm there. And the last one I was there all 4 days. I don't see any of it. Other than them watching cameras and going, okay, and they're speculating, oh, this is Dorinda. Okay, here's Dorinda. She used to date the guy. I see a lot of that, but I don't see the cooking that these people purport. I feel like she's someone who's insecure, super insecure, and super dysfunctional, and super wants the love of her lame staff. So now her and the boyfriend, and he's a total drippy codependent. Yes. So he's got to like back her up. And so they concocted many posts and things like that about how Bar Rescue begged them. I'm like, you guys, there are so many bars that want their bar renovated. You know what I mean? Like
that is not true. There are so many bars that go and send their stuff from Meadow Flowers. I get too from people. I get
so many emails and texts from people saying, "Will you come do this bar?" I don't bother forwarding them, but like if that was ever an issue, okay, but it's not. They are not at a loss for people who want to come in and have $200,000 to $500,000 work done in their bar. Not to mention publicity and something repeating over and over and over again.
And they're not making up that they're 1.2 to 1.8 million, they're all that stuff, and they're in debt for $500,000. The only reason they even know that is when they send in their tape and they send in their letter, however they do it. That's what they tell them. They tell them that.
And the reason that most of them, no, I know, and the reason if they do lie, and it's not Bar Rescue that lies, if these guys lied about their debt and lied about we're going to shut down in 2 weeks or two, they're doing it because they want Bar Rescue to come in.
Well, let's be honest, lie or no lie, Anita was hysterical crying when she was talking about her only having 1 month till she loses her house.
Right. So
there must have been truth to that.
Well, maybe she's a fantastic actress then.
Yeah.
Because according to her posts, all of it was a put on.
Right.
And
didn't look like she was acting to me.
And I don't believe it. And by the way, along with a lot of the negative criticisms, it wasn't so much on the renovation, it was the service. Terrible service. That's what we saw, and I'm not surprised because she had an opportunity to bring in new people, new life.
Yeah.
So did she take down the renovations also in the updates?
Here's the one thing you can count on with them: they usually are so lazy and lame. These owners, and especially the ones who are not responsive, they're usually so bad that you can count on them to they just can muster only enough strength and money to change the sign back. That's it. And maybe hang a few she wrote thank you to everybody who came in on their weekends to put the old stuff back in, and we blah 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 blah. I mean, but like I said, they're too lame to clean up and paint and fix their bars to begin with. You think they're gonna have the energy to go back? No.
And you saw what that kitchen looked like before they cleaned it. There's no way.
Yeah.
None.
I don't know. This one, I'm just like as a TV viewer, it was great to have the twist, but as a human being, I was just freaking pissed.
Well, the cool thing was they also plugged in who you can email if you have a bar that wants to get renovated.
Yeah. So if you're ungrateful, if you're a total narcissist, if you're an alcoholic.
But Keven wants a wackadoo, right? Or a wackadoodle?
I want a wackadoodle, yes. I like the wackadoodle because with the wackadoodles, it's like, I don't know, they're entertaining, they make me laugh. People like this is the average civilian. This is how the average civilian thinks, and it makes it so I don't want to leave my house. Yeah. The wackadoodles I like because we know what they are. It's just they're kooks. Wonder Bar, the Pirates, they're out of their freaking minds, and I love it. But it's the other ones that are like normal. Like these are the people when you pick up the phone and you have to do business with them, whether it's a telemarketer, I mean anything, or a clerk or whatever. These are the people on the other end, and this is what just frustrates my day because it's morons like that I'm dealing with. Or I'll tell you, I went to a pet shelter this weekend.
Oh.
On the highway, it said puppies adopted, right? Big giant sign. I'm like, but in a big beautiful building. I'm like, yes, this is what we need. Because we've closed a ton of pet stores. They're almost gone, but we have 70,000 dogs get killed. Just dogs.
It's awful.
In LA alone. Annually. And And so when we have we have the puppy problem, it's like, oh wow, this big place to have puppies. So I pulled over. I wanted to see what they had, and then I was ready to go. Hey, we have a charity, 501c3 charity called Take Action Hollywood. We do a lot with animals. Obviously, Maria. I have all celebrity friends. But I'm like, what a great. And the girl at the front was so rude and so short, and wouldn't let me look at any of the dogs. There was one dog there, one puppy. That's all they even had. I'm like, you have a sign that's across the highway, the 101. It says, and so then I'm thinking, okay, who do I know that would need this puppy? And I said, well, does it shed? All dogs shed. I'm like, okay.
Whoa.
It was just somebody it was just some, and I said, Toots.
Did you say that? That's
no,
East Coast to you.
I would have, because I like that.
Didn't.
All right,
No.
Toots.
I'm like, listen. In the last 20 years, I've probably fostered more dogs than you may ever in your lifetime. And I said, not because I'm any better than you, but because I happen to work very closely with a lot of dog groups. And I said, I'm okay financially where I'm able to do that. I'm like, I'm not here to do anything other than help this. And as I think what obviously your owner is doing, not you, but it was that same ignorant. And it really bummed me out, because as I left, I was just so bummed, because I said, this is something nice that someone put into effect, and this is who they hired at the front desk
to represent them.
and that's it. And this is this lady this is me walking into a, God forbid I want to go and have a good night, and this is the idiot who owns that I have to deal with, that owns the bar, and that we all have to deal with. So that's why I get really sad on such a deeper level that this is what's out there.
They only had one dog there, not to mention.
The only one, yeah, that's what they said.
Wow.
But anyway, let's not get into that. It's just the point is, these are the civilians that, I just don't want to be dealing with. I just don't. So anyway, that's why I watched this episode, and this one made me just very angry. It made me very sad. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan. And I hate that they get the renovation and the publicity. I hate it.
Because they don't deserve it.
They don't deserve it.
It doesn't matter about the publicity. They look bad regardless. So I don't want to go to that bar after watching
You
this.
don't, but everyone in the hometown sees them, and that's cool. And it just spreads such bad sentiment about John and about Bar Rescue. And I guess maybe I should just have a thicker skin. But it's just, I've said it from the first after show we did here. Who in your lives have ever come forward? You said it earlier tonight, Gab. Who comes forward and says, here, let me just help you. Just give you a couple $100,000. Let me give you all this publicity. Right? You know.
I mean, and even those people
Not
who
that
actually
out of
do,
everyone
sometimes don't even do it at the end of the day.
Say that again.
Even though there could be people that say, hey, I want to help you, because they have the means to help you. And then when you call them on it, hey, yeah, let's do this, all of a sudden it's not there and it doesn't appear. So I mean, these people are actually getting it.
They're getting it. Now, will I say that out of the three of us at this table,
What?
I think Gabby would be the most difficult of person on the rescue show. I think,
Difficult? Why?
In
what sense?
Because you're Yabut and Costello.
And what?
Yabut and Costello. Someone just told me that this week, and I think it's great. Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Because you'd be like, Yabut. You'd be totally arguing with the experts and whatnot. You would be. You'd be a little pain in the ass.
Actually, no.
You would, but then they'd break you, and you'd be amazing.
I am very. I'm definitely opinionated. I definitely believe in my perspective on things, but I'm very open-minded. And if someone's gonna give me good advice, I always take it internally, and I'll sit on it.
After a while.
No, not after a while.
After a while.
Well, I don't know why you say these things. You can ask my boyfriend. I take advice from him all the time, and I'm very open to it.
You're right. No, you have upgraded.
Well, with age comes maturity.
Right, you have
Kevin.
upgraded, because even the fact that we finally have a boyfriend is
No, I mean I had a boyfriend 2 years ago too.
Yeah, but he was.
Yeah, I mean eventually, yeah.
Anyway,
it's true.
I don't know what back to this episode. I just, like I said, it left such a bad taste in my mouth. I know next week there's a Family Feud that looks like that'll be interesting to watch. But yeah, I'm really bummed. I'm really bummed after this episode. And maybe I'm just taking it too hard. Dorinda, help me. What do you think?
I was not happy about this episode, especially when she started the whispering. So I was like, you are just a total waste.
Total waste.
That's actually just what I actually said that out loud when I was by myself. I'm like, you are a total waste.
From that point through the phone call and the last meeting with John, I just had enough of her.
Yeah. Because even John was still trying to turn it around for her. And not being like, how dare you?
You
not
could
like
tell
this.
he gave up.
Yeah, he was
He
like,
gave up. Yeah,
He did, and I was almost hoping. This is John is like he's so much cooler than me, because in that moment I would have said, "Hey guys, with all due respect, I poured my heart and soul into this. You know, you guys just on your own. Like, you know, have your tonight, whatever. I just know that's probably not good for the show, but I felt like him having to stay because even as she was doing it." Maria was like, look at her face. She's not into this. You know, when they had the opening, she's like, she is not into this at all.
Yeah, because usually they show their faces like all excited.
And
yes.
I did notice that there were less people in there. And I wonder if that was a matter of not having Jeff Schaefer there. Or if his name is even Schaefer's.
Well, it could have been. It could have been. But I mean, you just grow. You have to grow. It's your business. It's not Jeff Schaefer's business anymore. Well, technically, I guess.
And by the way, because she's such a kook, maybe he was okay being the manager. You know, maybe. I mean, I don't even know. I guess I don't want to know. I just want to get to next week, and I want to whack-a-doodle. I'm ordering Bar Rescue. I'm ordering Free Ball. I'm ordering John Taffer. I want more whack-a-doodles. It's funny. Lisa Marie Joyce, who is a great expert and was on, she guest hosted with me last week, and she said sometimes when they walk in, she'll whisper John, like, she'll say, I hope they're crazy, and he's like, we're here to work, like, because John's so serious. She's like, we're here to work. This is business. She's
like, I really just have to that.
Sorry, but deep down, totally rooting for the crazies. We need them. We're still talking about pirates. How many years later?
I know. I love that woman.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Wonder Bar and Cockroach Man.
Oh, yeah. You know that place, I think that place finally closed. The Cockroach Bar.
Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Another one closed too, Murphy's Law.
Oh.
Yeah, that went out.
Where was Murphy's Law located?
I think Vegas.
Yeah.
And to their discredit, they brought back someone that, John arranged to have fired. No coinky dinky.
Never.
Anyway, my Gentiles. Where do we find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at LulaCherryFilms and at Instagram on Dorinda B1.
You can find me on Instagram at Gabby.Loren and on Twitter at Gabrielle_Loren. What about you, Kevin?
At Undergaro. And let's hope we'll be back next week. It's a family in turmoil, so it looks like it'll be good. Be a good episode again. Yeah, it's still an awful taste in my mouth about this episode, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm so
You need a drink right now.
Yeah, I do, but I don't want to go to a bar because I'm feeling like it's gonna be these people that are serving me. I want my own bar. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hit us up on iTunes or tweet one of these lovely ladies or comment on our YouTube page. We love it. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.